All right, so at this point we've got our all the cards set up, and basically what I want to do, or what we're going to do, is we're going to set up a button so when you click on it, it's going to execute certain actions. Okay, so that's our card script. So that's this thing I made right here, and basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a custom function, and we're just gonna call it function. Right, so whenever a function is just like a machine that you can call at any moment and it does an action. It'll complete a series of things. So when we click on the button, it's going to call this function. That's basically what I want to have happen. And I'm going to name it. This is just a name I want. Now you always start it with a capital letter. I'm going to call it flip card because that's what I want to do. It's not actually going to flip the card, but it's going to sort of. Now, I'm going to add some parameters to this, okay? And so basically it's going to be card, or add a parameter, and it's going to be game object. Okay, so basically what this is saying is that it's going to call this function, and when it calls this function, it's going to give it a game object, and we're going to call it, for all intents and purposes, card, okay? So basically, I'm going to send it whatever, when I click on it, it's going to send it the card that I'm clicking on. That's what this is going to do. So basically, I decided that I want to name it card. That's just the name I gave it, just like I gave this function flip card. And the type is game object, which is basically just means it's any one of these things, just game objects, okay? Good. So now I got to do is that I have to put this in my mustachios or brackets, and basically anything that's inside of these brackets is part of this function. So this is like my block of code. All right. So right off the bat, as soon as I click on it, the first thing I want to have happen is I want to take my card that I created. That's this thing up here, and thank you for changing that card. Neat. Okay, card. Wow, it's really hard up about calling it something that I don't want to call it. Card. Let's see if I can, okay. It's really annoying. Card, and then I'm going to do set active, and I'm going to set it to false. And basically what that means is I'm just going to, the card that I'm clicking on, I'm going to turn it off. Because the idea is I'm going to click on this card back, and when I turn that off, it will reveal the face card on the other side. Okay, so that's basically what I'm doing, because all these are just generic card backs, and behind them are the faces. So if I turn that off, it will reveal that for me. Okay, and just to show you that, actually, we'll go ahead and we'll save this, and I'm just going to add it to whatever this one is. So this one, I'm going to go down here. So on click, I'm going to add a new behavior, and I need to make an object to hold my script. So I'm going to create empty, and I'm just going to call this the card. Oops. I'm going to call it the card controller. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and throw my card script on there. All right. So let's see. I'm going to click back on this one. Okay. So it's this card. So now I'm going to drag this card controller, and I'm going to say, okay, on that controller, there's a script, and I want to do flip card. Now, what I need to do is it says, what's the object that's going to get turned off? So if you look at here, you'll see I need to send it this object. So the object I'm going to send it is going to be the card itself. So now when I hit play, you'll see what happens is when I click on it, it's going to turn off. Okay? I only did it to the one. The other ones don't do anything yet. All right? So just to give you an idea, so I have that card selected. Watch the set active here. That's that button there. Boom, it turns it off. That's all that script did so far. So, and I'm going to put on all of them. So basically that's how we're going to reveal what the face card is and what the card actually is supposed to be. Okay. So basically what I need to have happen is this. That's all good and dandy, and that's what I need to happen. But basically I want it so that when I click on one card, it reveals it. When I click on another card, it reveals it. When I click on a third, when I do that, it will either decide to turn both cards off or keep them both on so that they stay matching. Okay, so basically I need to count the number of cards that I'm clicking. So I say, okay, I click one card, leave it up. I click two cards, either decide to either look at it and say this is a match, or look at it and this is not a match, and turn them both over again. Okay, so that's basically what I need to do. So I need to count the number of cards I've flipped. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a variable, and I'm just going to call it public, which I actually don't need to do, but I'm just going to do it anyways. Variable. So public just means that it's available to all the other scripts and stuff, and it's like a universal, like I can write in here and another script can access this. I'm just doing it as a catch-all. Var just means it's a variable, so it's a thing that I'm creating that's going to be a container to hold a value. The name that the unique name I'm going to give it is I'm just going to call it num cards, and basically I just want to say the number of cards. That's what I'm thinking. And it will be an int. Okay, so an int is a whole number, 0, 1, 2, 3, -1, -2, but not decimals. There's no 0.1, there's no 0.2. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because numbers are whole, or cards are whole, right? That's what I'm using. So variable number of cards, and good. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that off. Then what I'm going to do is that after I've turned a card, right, I need to say, okay, add one card that's been turned. I've now turned a card, right? So now the number of cards turned is 1, okay? So to do this, I could do this. I could do num cards is equal to, this is going to sound kind of weird, num cards plus 1. And what it means is that take what it currently is and add 1 to it. Okay, and then I put a semicolon. That's fine. That would totally work. A shortcut to this, and it's called increment, is plus plus. It just means add 1 to it, which is basically what I want to do. So add 1 to the total number of cards. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, if... Okay, yeah, so here we go. So basically I can say, okay. Yeah, so we're going to say if num cards is equal, so this means it's equal to, this is it's matching to the other thing. If I said equal, I'm assigning a value to it. If I'm equaling, if I do double equals, it means I'm comparing, okay? If it's equal to 2, which means there's 2 cards that are currently flipped, I want it to perform the current actions. Okay, and just like functions, it's going to complete whatever's inside of these 2 brackets. So this is part of the if. So if this is true, if there are currently 2 cards selected, this is what's going to happen. Okay. I'm going to want it to do certain things. So one thing I usually like to do just to make sure things work is I will say, and this is just, you should just use this all the time. I use it whenever I'm trying to make sure whether the code's reading or not, whether it's working. I usually like to write a debug.log, and then I'll say match maybe, or whatever, just something so I know what it says, a match, right? So it's going to say match. All right. Now, I could say, now, besides that, I could say, okay, if the num of cards is 1, okay, I'll have it do certain things, which will be what's inside this bracket, or I will do else, which basically means if it's not 2 cards are flipped and if it's not 1 card is flipped, it's going to do this. And basically what I want it to do is that if no cards are flipped, the number of cards is obviously, num cards is obviously none, right? Oops. So that means there are no cards flipped. So just, it's like a reset, okay? Good. So that's looking pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and save that. And we'll just test it real quick to see if it's, and I got no errors because that's super awesome. Oh, you know, I can't even test anyways because I don't really have anything to test it with. So, Oh, yeah, you know what? Actually, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead, click and drag all of these, and I am going to add, and then I'll grab the card controller. I'm just going to do all of them at once, and then the function I want it to do is card script and flip card. Now, each one of them is going to have a different card that's got to go in here. So, because they're, this card itself has to go into this. So it's not necessarily going to work. So one of the things actually I got to do too that I forgot is I don't know what's even behind this one. So we're going to be comparing these cards, not these cards. I actually numbered the wrong ones. So this one's a 2. So instead of just calling it card back, I got to call these card 02 and so on and so forth. So I'm going to why are you... That's kind of weird. Let's see what happens here. Okay. So this was card 2, card 02, and then I'll look at this one, and that is card 03. And I'm going to pause this and just rename these, but you get... Okay, so I got all those done. So basically what I got to do is I got to go through and basically just drag these into their own thing. So basically when it does go to turn off the card, this is the card that's going to turn off. Okay, so I'll go here, and I'm just going to drop each one into here, into their own script. So I'm just going right down the line, like so. So we're just going to turn that off, and no function. And I'm going to do none. So it's just the one there. Yep, so drop that on there. Drop that one on there. Drop that one on there. And drop that one there. Okay. So basically what you'll see is that if you look over here, that this is the object. This is what we just filled in. We said, okay, when it goes into here and does cards set active false, that's the object it's going to do. And so basically when we click on it, it's going to turn itself off. It's going to do the set active and turn that off. So that way it will reveal what's underneath it. Okay. That's more or less what we're looking for. All right. What are we at here? 1250. Okay. So I do need something. So what I want to do is, in order to say that it's a match or it's not a match, because I wrote match here, but it's actually not. Just because I click on 2 doesn't mean it's a match. It just means there's 2 cards. So this is actually a bad debug. So actually, let me change that to 2 cards. All right. Oops. Control S. And then if I play it, hopefully this will... Right. It says 2 cards. 2 cards. 2 cards. You can see every time I click on 2 cards, it says 2 cards, which is good. So, but obviously it's clicking and it's holding and it's not actually matching. It doesn't really care. So we need to basically fix that. So what I need to do is, we're going to start on the next video.